Xin chao, what's up everybody? In this video today, we're going to talk about why I choose Saigon and why I continue to choose Saigon over every other city in Vietnam. There is a reason I feel that Saigon has a bit of a different character and charm to it. So in this video, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to talk about that. First things first, let's just get right into the answer, because I know some people don't want to watch the whole 10 minutes and you guys are ADD really now and super short answers. There's just a lot more stuff to do here more consistently. The nightlife is open way later. Monday through Sunday I can find something to do all the time. Like any big city across the world, there's kind of just always something to do. It's always a humming city and there's just a lot of people around. So that's the short answer. So let's get into the video. Let's fully break it down. So first things first, you really got to go to every city that you potentially want to live in Vietnam. You can't watch a video or watch a YouTuber or all kinds of videos from whatever and make an assumption on where you're going to live based on that. You can get an idea, you can get a speculation, but you really have to put, in my opinion, you know, what they would say, boots on the ground, and go check these places out. So, you know, the three most popular places for expats to live in Vietnam are Da Nang, Hanoi, and Saigon. So I continue to choose Saigon over Da Nang and Hanoi, mainly for the reason we opened up with. You know, Hanoi did get more Michelin star restaurants, but I think Hanoi has a lot more of a really fancy area to it than Saigon does, just currently right now. Now Saigon is competing with that. Like, our Michelin star restaurant is over here in a food market. It's not in the best location, but it is a really popular restaurant. People really love it. We'll eventually get to have a really high class zone. We're in it now, but like, you know, I think Hanoi's is kind of like this as well. It just has a little bit more oomph to it because it's the capital. But we're digressing off the topic. As I said, you really need to go to these cities. I think Hanoi's a bit more boring than Saigon. I think the population is smaller. Don't quote me on that, but it feels a little bit smaller. The city felt a little bit more spread out. I'm not sure if that's true either. You're definitely going to get more of a seasonal vibe in Hanoi as well, so you're going to get a cooler season there, you know. So if you're in the seasons and you don't want to be in the heat all the time, you're definitely going to get a reprieve from that there at some points during the year. So it's really going to be a difference in weather compared to Saigon as well. Saigon, it's always going to be 80 to 95 degrees, and it's either going to be raining or not raining. So that's the weather in Saigon. I've grown accustomed to it. I quite like it, to be honest with you. So the other big city is Da Nang. That's a beach city. They call it the IT, the tech city of Vietnam. Again, I find it to be pretty boring. There are things to do there. Both these cities have plenty of things to do there. It just, you know, they kind of shut down earlier. You know, we have Bui Vien, and I guess, you know, Saigon shuts down too, but I think District 1 stays pretty alive consistently, and especially pre-COVID. Like, once we start to recover fully in the years to come, we should see an uptick in all these areas. And of course, they're putting a bunch of money into this whole area to make it really the tourist hub. So they're currently doing that now. You know, they're going to put this Ben Thanh Square in that, like, people love to complain about on the internet. But they're going to do more stuff like that. They're putting in a bridge down here. So I think you're going to have more access to more women as well in Saigon. I think if you're just right out of the gate, if you're a dude hunting for women, I think you're just going to have, just strictly numbers, you're going to have more of an inventory here. And I think you're going to have more of an open-minded woman, probably in the South, and one that's born in the South, just because that's the way it is. If you need further explanation into that, I would just recommend watching more videos and getting to understand the North and the South and all that stuff. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but there are going to be some differences. So we were talking about Da Nang. I think Da Nang is definitely going to be a little bit cheaper, but not by much, you know. My buddies were always paying the same amount for an apartment as I was here. So, like, you know, if I was spending $600, they were spending $600. If I'm spending $750, they're at like a $750. Like, most of them are at about the same price in Da Nang if you're gonna get a nice Western style apartment. Now there are so many additional problems with Da Nang that like Da Nangans, I call them Da Nangans, don't really want to talk about. There's hella flooding from the rain. They dump sewage directly into the ocean there, like directly just pumps right into the ocean. So like swimming isn't as good, in my opinion, there in Da Nang as it could be. If I'm gonna live in a beach city, it's gonna be Nha Trang. Now granted, Nha Trang doesn't have as much going on. I just think it's a better, if I'm doing a beach vibe that's gonna be a little boring and chill like that, I'm gonna go to 100% Nha Trang over Da Nang. And your money's gonna go way farther in Nha Trang. The housing in Nha Trang is still crazy cheap. You know, I think in the years to come, if it stays cheap, you're going to see an explosion of people moving to Nha Trang. I think a lot of Koreans too. Like Koreans are the #1 people going there right now. Look at all this. 900. The Vespa tours are fully back. You know, all over. People are really like them. I think they're a good tour. I highly recommend it. If you want to go on a good Vietnamese regular tour that's going to take you to cool food and coffee and see some tour sites, do one of these Vespa things. I highly recommend it. Probably a better tour than I can give you on Patreon. I kid. By the way, if you do want to go on a tour when you're in Vietnam, there's the Crown Sin Chao, there's a crowd-funded website called Patreon. You can join up for that for as little as $5 a month. You have access to all kinds of additional content on there. You also have direct access to me via DM, and you can go on a tour when you're here. So you can go over to patreon.com/FatandBroke and sign up if you want to do that. So as I was talking about, I think Nha Trang has more of a squeeze and a bang to it all than a Da Nang would for me. I think the food's really good in Nha Trang too. I think the food's really good in Da Nang too, but I think it's really good in Nha Trang as well. So there's other places that expats live. The older Australian guys tend to, we're talking like 40, so my age and older, tend to really enjoy Vung Tau. That is a southern city of Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. It's about 3.5 hours south of Ho Chi Minh City. You can get very affordable housing there. We're talking like as little as 150 bucks a month if you want. I think even cheaper if you're like a real degenerate, you know, want to stay in a piece of crap box. But you can live there extremely affordably and have a pretty good lifestyle there. And it seems to really be where the older guys really find home and really get their footing on. So I think that's also a great location, especially if you're Australian or just an older guy. Or there's a lot of younger guys that live there too, especially if you like a quiet beach area that you have access to drive to Vietnam or Saigon if you want to. So a lot of guys that do live there do come up to Saigon quite frequently when they need something. So there's really lots of advantages to living in different places, but I think Saigon's going to give you the best squeeze, you know. The reason originally why I chose Saigon was, you know, the housing was great, lots of access to Western apartments. So you had a lot of access to Western apartments for a very good price. You had a lot of access to Asian flights, because you got to always realize, like, I love that I'm married and I'm with Winnie and I would trade it for nothing, but my trajectory was to world travel and live stream around the world and go all over Asia. You know, I never factored meeting my wife, getting married, and then factoring COVID and all that shit in. So like things have changed. It's not exactly where it would be, but I would rather have my relationship with my wife. So I'm willing to compromise on my things and figure out like a new way to make everything work. So that's kind of like what I'm in the middle of doing now, but I still have 4 years into living in Saigon. No desire to live in any of the other cities at all. Not even a little bit. Like, I don't want to move at all out of Saigon right now. Sure, you're gonna get frustrated with some shit. We talked about it in some other videos earlier in the week, last week. But these things happen. They're gonna happen to you anywhere. It's about being a big boy, not being negative, letting it bother you every day, and understanding that this is life and, you know, nothing's really perfect. And you gotta kind of make do with some stuff. So, as far as I'm concerned, like I said in the beginning of the video, you need to go to all these places. I think each person's pretty different. I think if you're a young guy, you like to go out and party, or you're a guy under 40, you're single, you like to go out, the same for a woman, you like to go out and party, you want to meet a lot of people and have a lot of sex and do a lot of things like that, I would say Saigon's going to be your best bet. followed up by Da Nang or Hanoi. So they're all a toss-up. Really, it's going to be up to you and you doing your due diligence and going to these places and figuring out which one you like. And you need to go to these places for a while. Like if you're serious about it, I would say each one for a month. Do your 90-day visa and just plot a month in each one and figure it out. Because you can easily live here on the 90-day visa. We will do a video about that suggested by a user in the live stream about easily being able to live here on the 90-day visa. It's going to be recapping a lot of things, but that's okay. So that's really all I have on this video. If you have anything you want to add, please feel free to add it in the comment section. As ever, thank you for watching. If you want to watch me live stream, we do that over at kick.com/fatbro. Thank you so much for watching. Stay frosty. See you on the next one. Peace out.